Hi everybody, and welcome to Cooking with Cricket, and welcome to another episode where I'm not cooking nothing. You bet you're seeing food in these bowls. I uploaded how to make silicone molds, your own homemade silicone molds, and I'd ask if anyone wanted to see. There's a dry type and there's a wet type, and the dry type, the molds are more stiff, and this wet type, it's more flexible to do things, to mold things like blueberries and chocolate chips and cherries and stuff like that. So, and because the one with the cornstarch, if you just try to push a blueberry down in there, it might crush the blueberry. So again, what we're gonna need, and this version is messy, so please wear gloves to protect your hands. I have on an old apron to protect my clothes. Do not eat this food. Once you make sure it's food that you don't mind throwing away afterwards, because do not eat this food, and anything that you use for this silicone, make sure it's just for that. Don't, like I have this big old glass bowl that I got on clearance. This is only for this purpose, for me to make my molds, or for anything like candle use, but it will not be used for food anymore. It's clearly for this. You can use a plastic bowl. And what you'll need, and make sure these silicone molds are not to mold food. Meaning we're going to mold food, but it's not to, once the molds get done, don't mold like, you know, your fondant or icing or anything like that to put on cakes. These are not to be used for anything edible, to mold your edible stuff. This is only for like soap and crafts and candles. You know, I'm a candle maker, so make sure it's only for that. And what you'll need is make sure that you get, I'm using 100% silicone. Make sure it's 100%. You can buy the cheap kind, but make sure it's 100% silicone. And then we're going to need some Dawn dishwashing liquid. And I know that Dawn's, can be expensive. Nice coupon though. And I'm an extreme couponer. But I still hate to use the amount that we're going to have to use. So let me go get ready. And so also I'm outside. Make sure you do it in a ventilated area, because caulk it's strong and it can take your breath. I have some cardboard boxes that I put plastic bag underneath, and then I have some wax paper laying on top. And it's still going to get real wet, so make sure that you line your work surface and everything, because this stuff's going to be messy. Let me get my gloves on, and then I'll get started. And at the end of the video, I've had some viewers request that I show actually how I use the molds. So tomorrow I am going to be making my embeds for my candles, and so I'll bring you along. So sorry if this video gets a little long. Okay, I am outside, so you're going to hear outside noises, and I'm sorry for that. But make sure that your water is ice cold, to the point where it just about hurts your hands. So I put ice in this pitcher and added some water to it and let it been setting. Now I'm going to have to keep you zoomed out where you can see me mold the stuff too, because I can't stop. I've got on gloves. I'm going to have silicone and stuff on my hands, and I don't want to touch my camera. Now the Dawn, you're going to need a lot of this Dawn. So just start squirting it in. This is a 21.6 fluid ounces. And that should be enough. I've used almost half, not quite, but almost. Start kind of mixing that. get it kind of soapy, and you want to make sure your hands are good and wet too. And before we mold our stuff, make sure that you dip your stuff in this soapy water too. I'm going to add a little bit more. Now, normally when I make stuff, I either just use one tube of caulk, or I might have another tube of caulk. But you can't just, I wouldn't go buy like 5 tubes of caulk and keep expecting to use this same water. You might want to change out. So my husband's going to have to pump the caulk in here for me, because my hands just, I can't do it. I'm older and they just hurt. And we're not going to pump the whole tube. We're going to pump half of it. And then I'm going to make some molds, and then he'll come out here and pump the rest. Just make sure your water's just like blue. See, it's blue. And please make sure that you protect your hands with some gloves. Okay, that's good for now. Alright, and then just start kind of working it with your hands. And it's going to stick. And it's hard to tell when it's the right time. You just got to keep kind of, I'm not mashing it hard. I'm just bringing it all together. And just when you got it all in a big old glob, just keep your hands in the water and just kind of start pressing it together. Now this ain't going to make a lot, just this one tube. And I'm going to have to make this one kind of thick, because I've got to press these blueberries and cherries, you know, kind of all the way in. So I don't want it to go all the way through the bottom. That will defeat the purpose. And I'm sorry I'm not zoomed in enough. I'll edit out instead of you sitting here watching me just squeeze this together. Say my water is very cold. This takes longer to bring together than the dry when you're making it with cornstarch. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it. I'll put it in the iCard. Okay, it's starting to come together. It's not really sticking as bad. I'll bring it together. Sorry if you see me leaning. It's kind of thick. I'll start dipping my blueberries. I'll dip them in the water first. And you want to leave them in there. Alright, we're going to leave these in here for a while. I'm going to get the other made. See, it's not going to make much. And decide what I want to dip. And then I'll bring you back when I get the when I get them all made and I'm ready to pull them out. Okay, I've let these set for about an hour till most of the moisture was off and these molds are set up. See, I can squeeze them. So now just to pop these out. And I don't know if you can see. Let's see how that one's stuck. Just pop it on out. Now, even though this mold, it's still kind of wet, but it has set up. I'm gonna dip it back in the water, kind of clean it up a little bit, get the blueberry off. And now this needs to cure and finish setting up. So I'm going to let it sit out here overnight and into tomorrow. I may come back out, like if I have it sitting right here, you know, and move it and flip it over to let both sides get good and set up. Now let me do the chocolate chips. I don't want to touch my camera too much. Just pop them out. Let's see, you can't see that. Yep, you can see this one. Now let me get all these popped out, and then I'll show you both the molds. I'm going to rinse this one too in the Dawn water. Clean it up. Because afterwards I would not, you know, do that no more. The dry version, you can't do that too. You can't put it back in the water. But these, just real quick. Tomorrow I'll be back because I'm going to be making embeds all day. And I'll show you both the wet version and the dry version of these that I made. And show you how I use them. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I love you all. And thanks for watching. The next clip you'll see is the next day. And remember, do not use this food that you've used. Don't even use this that you had your hands all in. And I would not pour this water down my drain, this silicone water, because it still has little bits of silicone in there. See? Don't pour that down your drain. Alright, it's the next day, and I let my molds dry real good and get cured. This is the one we did with the water, and this is one that I did with the cornstarch. You know, it's not as flexible, but it's easy to mold like, I'm going out of focus. It's easy to mold like cereal or cookies or something like that. You don't want to use really hot wax. Let it cool just a little bit. And I have this scented with chocolate, and it smells just like a chocolate bar. And just fill them up. And I'll bring you back when I'm ready to unmold them. Alright, now I'm going to unmold them. And look just like little chocolate chips. And I have my blueberries in here. But you've seen how it works. Thanks for coming along. Bye-bye.